Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. Your video is about to start shortly. Please take this opportunity to hit the like button down below, leave some comments, tell your friends. Interaction, likes, subscriptions help my channel to grow and help me to keep producing content for yourselves. If you're new to my channel, check out the other videos that I've got. There are over 500 videos at this stage, so there should be something there for everybody. Again, video is about to start. Hit that like button down below. Hi guys, so we're going to tie a variation on a Willie Gunn Templedog here and using the Conebody style. So that allows us to tie a small fly with that weight in the centre that you'd get from a cone head, but not elongating the fly, because I think cone heads on some small flies do tend to throw out the balance of the look of the fly to me. So this is our black 1.8mm inner or lining tube, and we're going to put on a length of 3.2 outer onto that. So I'm going to cut this square and I'm going to keep it quite short, so this is like 10-12mm. Put it on and push it back onto the flared bit of the inner tube, as you can see here. So essentially we only have this is just to hold the hook, and this is to tie the body on, give support to the cone. So we then take our tying thread and bind down onto that. Gel spun's handy for this in that it gives you a bit more bite and contracts the outer tube down onto the inner. So if we add a little bit of glue to that and just wrap over it, and that'll just help to sort of seal the two together. So very simple construct to the rear part of the body. We're just going to take a gold dubbing, like a gold Angelina or Angel Air type dubbing, glister, whatever. Dub that on and wind it onto the 3.2 outer, and then we want to just step it over onto the 1.8 inner. We can now put a half hitch on that and cut it off. So as the cone body suggests, we're going to use a cone as or in the body. So you want one that has a good recess on it here, because we want to push it back over this. So as you can see, it's actually taking up probably half of that body. So the glister or the dubbing is just to give that little accent out the back, but also it's here because we're going to use it to help fix the thing together. So the super glue will actually wick into the dubbing, and then we push this back into it and it will seal to the inside shape of the cone and therefore make a strong construct to the body. So the fly itself then is going to be tied in front of that. We're going to try and keep it as neat and small as possible, and then we're going to put like a hybrid cone type, UFO type cone in front of that. So swap over onto our tying thread. Now, depending on how much kick you want in it, you could use a stiffer for something like polar or possum or something like that there, just to give you the underwing. I'm going to use a little bit of that. If you don't have it, don't worry about it, just use Fox or Templedog or whatever it is you have. So I'm tying that in pointing forwards. I'll put a turn or two over it because I want it to be right tight up to the back here, and then a little bit glue a centimetre or so of our thread, 1 or 2 wraps over the base of that, and pull it back and get a turn over it, and that will hold our underwing in place, and that just gives the lift to the main wing itself. Don't want that, dispense with this step. So now we're going to add a little bit of fox. I'm going to use fox mask because we're tying a small fly here. And I'm going to use the orange fox mask. Now, it really has very little structure in it, so that's partly why I was using this as the underwing to support it. Otherwise you could use like a foxtail or something like that probably has a little bit more yard hair in it, and that might give you a little bit more strength in the underwing. So same thing, we're going to just glue a little bit of the thread and just wrap over that, and that will keep our underwing in place. So you can see it's a little bit splayed out across the top, and that helps us with the teardrop shape. So next we're going to move to the hackles. So I have a doubled orange hen hackle, or soft hackle, or whatever you want to call it here. And we're only going to put on a turn or two of each hackle colour in the Willie Gunn colour scheme. So orange, yellow and black. So this one, it just depends on which colour you want to predominate. I would always probably gravitate towards orange, but depends on what your own preference and fishing is like. So put on a couple of turns of that, and then we are going to go for yellow. So in this instance I'm going to use a yellow fox tail. So I take a bunch out of that, and I'm going to hold it about 2/3 along its length, and I'm just going to get the very shortest underfare out. And then the same thing, we're going to tie it in by its very base and fold it back across the top. And just splay it out a little bit, so we just want it to sort of meld or mix in with the orange. Then I'm going to take like a mirage crinkle, and I'm going to put a strand of that in. I'm going to make it about the length of the wing as it is so far, fold it back on itself, and then trim this other strand off. Again, you want to just secure that with a little bit of glue on the thread and wrap over those tyings. Okay, so next we're going to move to a yellow soft hackle and get a turn or so of that in. So here I have like this is actually a sunburst, but some sort of a yellow hackle. Again, I'm going to flip that over and double it. As per usual, I do have a video in my records somewhere of doubling hackles in the techniques section. So if you look through the channel for the playlists, you'll be able to see they're divided up into the different types of flies and also into techniques. So again, one turn is probably enough of that, so when it comes around and meets where you started, you can tie that off, flip it back and tie across it. You have to be careful not to get too much glue into it, otherwise it can wick into it and sort of make the whole thing stiff. So next we want to add jungle cock, and we want to add the black wing and the black hackle, and we might do that in a slightly strange order. So what I'm going to use is the small little eyes at the bottom of the JC cape here. So if we get matching ones out, hopefully from each side. Set those up, all of them in position, and get a wrap across. So we have one either side. And then we're going to put on the black wing but pointing forwards. So what I'm using here is a black fox mask, but there happens to be a really good bit of hair at the back of this one, which has really nice long guard hair in it. So I'm going to get rid of the very shortest underfur, but I still want some of the underfur in this to give us a bit of body and shape to this fly. And then same thing, flip it over, tie it in pointing forwards, and then I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to put on the black hackle now and then fold back. Again, we'll take a black soft hackle, hen hackle, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to double that again because it gives us a nice controlled appearance. Tie it in by its tip, fold it back. And as you see, I'm trying not to extend too far here, so I've only literally got like 1.5 mil or so to do this on. So what we're going to do is to run a little bit of glue. If you don't want to use glue, you could use varnish or wax or nothing at all. And then we're going to wrap that in this thread gap that we've created. At the end, I'm just taking it just in front of my wing, and I'll get a turn in there, and that will hold that in place, hopefully. And then I'm going to cut that off. I'm leaving a tiny little bit of the stalk attached. I don't want to get too much bulk here because I want my cone that I'm going to put on to get as tight into this as possible. And if I extend that way, then that's going to stop it, because if the small hole is going to hit my thread wraps and stop progressing any further back. So you can see this is sticking straight up. I'm going to use the cone to hold it back as such. I said if you don't want to stick a disc on the front, if you don't have one, literally just pull this back now and create a head and be done. But I am putting on one of these little sort of UFO-y type cones. Set that on the tube. I'm just going to stroke everything back into the position that I want it, and then just hold that. And then I'm going to add a blob of glue a little bit up the stalk there, because I'm going to use the cone to take it with it. Depends how tight your cone fits your tube, whether you can do that or not. The other option is to use something like super glue gel. So I'm just going to push that back with a tube tight into that, and that is the fly finished. And because the glue come back there, it will set those final thread wraps. So I can just cut that off. Mix your wing, just brush it, comb it into itself, and that is our Willie Gunn Templedog with Conebody version. Okay, so to finish it, we just need to take it off the needle, cut the tube and leave about a mil or two at the end of that, and flare it down, and then just before it cools completely I take a needle and I poke it into the end of it, and that is our fly tied. So that is our Willie Gunn cone-bodied Templedog. So hopefully you liked the video. So if you did, give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out all the hundreds of other videos that we've got on the channel, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.